Alright, that is the happy or possibly dead adult, possibly both, depending on what its life was like. It's a dark joke. Now, I kind of like this size this is again this 16, it's kind of like an 18 dry. So I'll do this down to like 20 with pheasant tail. And anything below that, I'm going to start using turkey biot and, tailing with some Cote de Leon. But unweighted pheasant tail is just a killer. It looks like everything that is about to come out of the water. And I'll even do it sort of pretty scraggly, and pick up fish that are eating caddis pupa. So kind of three material fly. You can over engineer this as much as you want. I'll kind of show you the two variations that I like. So when you are going small in the pheasant tails and you're using thin fibers, a couple things that I will suggest. One is go more than 2 or 3, because these things get chewed off. So that's 4 or 5. And you can kind of get away with it. What this is also going to do is accentuate. I shouldn't have cut that much off. We're going to restart it. That's what we do. Save those for our little wingies. Okay, now just the butts, because we're going to have to palm her forward a few times. Pulling it that way is tough. Pulling it that way, that's with the, call it the grain of the feather. I don't like my tying point. There we go. So yeah, a little picky on that, like, oh, I don't like my tying point. Using 140 denier, I could have switched over to GSP, down to 50 or 30. But I like, in this next process, to just at that halfway point, a little in front of the point, really make sure that that taper is seen or is there. And then you can lock that up or put it on your rotary girder thingy. I kind of like these laying out. There we go. They can get bunched up. So any shorter there, I'm going to be using my and then if I don't use 4 or 5, I'm going to have to do more wraps, and then I won't have this left over. Gonna remember I like turning my vise like that. It's less friendly for the camera, but I can really see where my hook point is a little better. So I turn the vise up like that. last wrap will be covered up with a thorax. So locking in the wire as I'm walking back. And what are we going to do? We're going to make a decision. Yeah, we're not going to do any hands. We're just going to do some scraggly dubbing, which is a blend of, got just a little bit, tiny bit of UV in there with snowshoe and black fox squirrel. And one of the reasons that if I'm going bigger, I'll put in, you know, the legs, but those little black fibers do a good job of hanging out, and this thorax is kind of doubles as the taper, the increase, and all the legs. So if that little point is that last tying point after a couple wraps is starting to pinch down your eye, go loose on this and just pull it back, then come down tight again. Putting one wrap in front. And then sometimes I'll tie straight back onto them to ensure they stay put. Especially going 140, I tend to go wrap back over them. Versus the GSP, you can just get around that hook eye and cinch down and it'll disappear effectively. So I put a little gink on the front edge of this. Yeah, if I get on the whole thing, that's fine, but that hook bend piece of metal pulling it down, and all of this stuff will sort of catch the water. And I have some, it's probably about half that I'll sneak a little CDC in there, in that dubbing. And it's great when, you know, if you want to sink it, fishing it with lead, great fly. The lack of weight allows it to move around. I just did my best to not burp. Yeah, the lack of weight allows it to move around, get pushed around a little more in the current. So, great fly that, again, I fish as call it a dropper, but fishing two dries. This one's just in the film, and a lot of the times they're eating this one. Tough to see though, and it doesn't have the air resistance of dry flies, so your leader doesn't really behave properly. So throwing this thing 14, 16, 18 inches behind. Some videos have this, you cut it off at the bend. I kind of like it just a little past the bend. So throw that thing 16, 18 inches behind this guy. And they'll eat both. You can at least see this one. And go pound some trout. But yeah, the tailwater trout can be. It's not that they're hard. Yes, it's hard to catch sometimes. I mean, other days it's fishing, right? Other days they're jumping into your boat. They just have so much